Always natural, fresh, and local. Visit online at wrightsdairyfarm.com.
Sunny skies today with a high of 73 degrees and a light breeze in the northwest. Tonight, clear skies, overnight low of 46. Sunday's weather, sunny skies, high of 68. Monday, 90% chance of rain all day, southwest breeze and 64. Tuesday, sunshine and 63. Wednesday, sunshine and 60. Thursday, sunshine and 59. Friday, sunny skies and a high of 62 degrees.
And currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have 63.3 cloudy degrees, but no rain in the forecast. And broadcasting live from the cheap seats here in Woonsocket, Kevin Callahan along with Pat Holland. Welcome to the cheap seats. Pat, good morning. How's it going?
Good morning, Kevin. Good to be here.
Good new name or new promos coming. And,
there you go.
Thanks for doing the graphics. Word on the street is people like it. Small words, but the word on the street is people like the name change. So
any words is good words.
Any word's a good word. All publicity is good publicity.
We'll take it.
All right. So thank you for joining us here on 99.5 FM and 1240 AM with soccerradio.com. And if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we'd really appreciate that as well. Thank you. Tell your friends.
Yeah,
Tune in.
Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. So let's just get right into it. We've been doing this the last couple of weeks, kind of jumping into the local stuff to start the show off. We are planning on doing a big Bruins preview, probably around 9:30 or so for the last half hour. But let's get right into it. A game you heard right here on WOON last night. Cumberland behind quarterback Evan Spencer's 3 rushing touchdowns of 15, 36, and 41 yards. Beats the Cranston West Falcons 29-14, snapping a 2-game skid, improving to 2-2 on the season. The Falcons loss drops them to 3-2. I'm not going to get into the whole RPI ratings index, but it's a whole new formula. This was a huge win for Cumberland. Without getting into all the details of the minutia, it's still too early in the year, but trust me, huge win for Cumberland last night.
Yeah, and another big game in Warwick. Bishop Hendrickin's homecoming game. They beat LaSalle, which is a possible Super Bowl preview.
Always.
And they beat them 24-7. As you've hit it a little bit. Hendrickin they're deep. I mean, they had three running backs that scored touchdowns. Stout on defense. Big turnover. They forced a big turnover in the third quarter. So 24-7 win over LaSalle.
Well, and just and really quick on that is Pat, you were texting me some updates on the game. It was close early, and then Hendrickin pulled away in the second half. We covered Hendrickin versus Cumberland here on ON earlier this year. It was 14-12 at the half. Cumberland actually was leading 12-7 at one point. 14-12 at the half. Final score 35-14. Hendrickin has the horses. They play 11 on each side of the ball. Most high school teams play a combined 15 players tops. Both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Hendrickin has got that luxury. I don't know if LaSalle has that luxury. Weirdly, I've never covered a LaSalle game just by coincidence in the scheduling. Have not covered LaSalle. I would imagine that they have numbers, but I think Hendrickin's numbers are just so deep that they can pull away from teams.
Yeah, just from a talent standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So Thursday night, quarterback, North Smithfield's quarterback, Ben Black, just his second game after a bad skiing accident, wiped out his baseball season, the start of the football season, and we actually covered his first start back. Coach Jeff Piva, very happy to have him back, threw 3 touchdowns in a 27-26 win over Tollgate, helping their playoff chances. They're a Division IV team, and they're making a little bit of run with a small roster. They're almost more athletic directors than players at North Smithfield.
Yeah, right. And I think that was a come-from-behind win, right? Tollgate was leading until the very end. So
I think so, yeah.
This afternoon in a game with major playoff implications due to the new RPI rating system that the Rhode Interscholastic League is using. Undefeated Burrowville, who we saw play last week against Pilgrim, they'll host undefeated St. Ray's at 12 o'clock today.
Yeah, and again, just the way the Burrowville schedule is set up, they play a lot of Division II and Division III opponents. They're a Division I team. Should they lose this game, won't hurt them too much. However, they may not have the opportunity to make up ground by playing a bunch of Division II and Division III teams. It's just the way the schedule is. It's the first year for it. So what are mostly upset, I think, is Burrillville parents when they see their team at the end of the year. Hey, we're 7-1. What do you mean we're not in the playoffs? So it could be something like that. So so in the game coming up here today on our airways at 1 o'clock, Brendan McGear and I will be back as we have Woonsocket hosting an explosive Westerly team. First time covering Westerly, actually, and we have them twice this year. Their quarterback, name eludes me right now, is throwing for 288 yards a game. So Westerly traveling all the way up north, Pat, with all the potential travel, flight delays, getting through customs, we hope to start the game right at 1 o'clock. But you know how it is, traveling all that way up north. So it should be interesting.
That's south location all the way up to the north. So.
And then they have to travel to Burrillville. That might even be further than Woonsocket for Westerly. So
that's right.
This is a dry run for them this week.
And then Lincoln had last night off. They'll resume play this coming Thursday night versus Shea.
Yeah, that's a big game for Lincoln after their bye week. On the college football front, Brown University last week, Harvard going for, not the game winning, but pretty much game clinching field goal to go up by 8 or 9. I can't remember exactly what now, but Brown blocks the field goal. They return it to like the 40 or 30. They throw a touchdown pass late in the game. I mean, we're talking seconds left in the game. They beat Harvard. I think 30-28 was the final score. The fans rushed the field, and they improved to 2-0 on the year. Brown is hosting the 1-3 Bryant Bulldogs at 12 o'clock this afternoon. Big local game. If not doing anything, hop on out down to Brown. That should be a good one.
Yeah, and in the number 20th ranked team in the FCS rankings, URI travels down to play the Hampton Pirates.
The Hampton Pirates,
who are 3-2.
Not ranked last I saw. I did see that Brown was in the others receiving votes when I was looking up the FCS rankings. William and Mary is ranked in the FCS rankings. Greatest quote ever from Lou Holtz when he was coaching for William and Mary. They lost the game, and they said, "Coach, what happened?" He said, "Too many Marys, not enough Williams today." a line. I don't know if you can use that line today, but he could back in the 70s and 80s. So we got Boston College, who I've seen the two rankings. They're ranked anywhere between 26 and 39. So I don't know. They're all over the place, but they're 4-1 today with a huge ACC road game today at Virginia. That game, Virginia's 3-1 as well. That game's starting at noon today. I love that Bill O'Brien has made Boston College relevant. They squeaked out a game last week without their quarterback against Western Kentucky, 21-20. I have not checked. I don't know. I'm putting you on the spot. Do you know if Castellanos is back at quarterback?
Castellanos is starting today. I have an error on the ground over there, so Tommy is back under center today against Virginia, which is good for them.
Excellent. So, all right.
Switching over to soccer, with just 4 games left in the regular season, Rhode Island FC, they host Tampa Bay Rowdies tonight in Smithfield at Bryant at 7:30. Tampa has a game in hand on them. It does look like RIFC is going to make the playoffs. They are playing pretty well. But it could be anywhere from 4th to 8th,
maybe even 3rd. They could tie Tampa today, but Tampa has a game in hand, so they obviously still have the upper hand. But way down at the bottom, that 8th spot, that's because RISC was 43 points, 4 points left in the year. But you look down there, Pat, at 4 teams between 36 and 38 points for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th place. Again, only Miami. So that's pretty incredible what's going on.
And RIFC closes out the season against Miami at home as well. So
you got to figure that's 3 points right there. And then what they do with the other 3 games.
And then the other Major League Soccer game tonight, which is meaningless, the New England Revolution, they are at home tonight against DC United.
Yeah, the Revolution tried to do what the Red Sox did, put themselves in an absolutely impossible situation, and needed everything to fall their way, and then lost anyway.
They lost. They needed a win out, and they needed some help, and they didn't do either. So
right. So
that's what we think. That's.
Speaking briefly of the Red Sox, we'll keep this in the local really quick. Got a little bit of a mole. We don't know. I think it's true enough that I'm hearing through the grapevine Kenley Jansen may be retiring. You had heard they might want to go back to the Dodgers, but we don't know if that's one of those one-day contracts so he can retire a Dodger.
As far as I'm concerned, he retired on the team
with 3 games to go
when he left. So
exactly.
And then we'll touch upon this as we won't get into it during the show, but obviously Celtics opened up their preseason yesterday. They're over in Abu Dhabi. They had two games against the Nuggets. They won yesterday 107-103, led by Peyton Pritchard, 21 points.
Peter Piper.
Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Derek White combined for 25. And the Celtics were 20 of 61 from three-point field.
So they just dribbled
that's
the ball over half court and launched.
Yeah.
I did not see the game yesterday, but one of the talking heads up in Boston made a pretty funny point. Like, so Tatum played and Drew Holiday played and Jaylen Brown played. Like, yeah. So they played over in Abu Dhabi, a meaningless game, but they won't play Thursday night. They'll give them a night off halfway through the season on a TNT Thursday night game.
Well, it is preseason. They got to get their work in.
They got to get their work in, but
Yeah, I don't think they played. I don't think Brown did. He did come out of the game yesterday. He took a hard hit, but he did come back in and seemed to be fine. So
yeah,
I think he had 8 points himself. So,
and we mentioned right before we went on the air, you mentioned the Providence Bruins opened up their season. I'm sorry, no, they did not.
Preseason.
They opened up their preseason.
I think they played the night before last in a 4-1 win against Springfield, and they opened their season up. I believe it's next Friday, the 11th.
So they're getting ready to get going as well.
Yeah, and then college hockey starts up this weekend.
PC's playing Union in a
PC
scrimmage.
has a scrimmage against Union College at Union, and then there's a slew of other games going on this weekend. Is the opening weekend for college hockey, which is I know we're big fans of college hockey. You've gone to the Frozen Four. I've gone to the Frozen Four. We've gone together.
It's college hockey. It's big. It's huge around here. And as big as it is, you can get tickets at Brown. You can get tickets at Schneider. It's an easy ticket to get. It is big. Quick rankings. I think PC is ranked, 12th.
I think there's four New England teams ranked in the top 20 in college hockey right now. It's huge. There's another, I think I read yesterday where the NCAA is now approving major junior players to actually be eligible to play college hockey now, which
that'd be huge.
It's going to change the face of.
And just hearing this off the top of my head, I think of last year, Matt Poitras with the Bruins. They couldn't send him to Providence. He wasn't going to play. He didn't come out of college. They could only send him back to his junior team. If the Bruins draft like a major junior player like that and know he's going to be playing at Boston College or Providence College or wherever, it's a way to hold on to him, because if you look at any college roster, you'll see that there is usually at least 4 or 5 players per team that are property of the Anaheim Ducks or the San Jose Sharks or whoever.
So these are teams out of like the Ontario Hockey League, the Quebec Major Junior, the Western Hockey League. They've up until this point they've never been eligible to play college. So now that is changing.
Wow, that's big news. That's something we'll keep an eye on as well. As we head into our first commercial break, when we come back, we're going to touch a little bit on the MLB playoffs as the best 3 out of 5 division series are starting. Some interesting things that happened in the wild card round. We're going to touch on the Patriots, and then in our last segment, and we're hoping to devote about a half an hour to it. That's why I got my Bruins shirt on. There we go. That's why I got my Bruins shirt on. We'd like to do a deep dive into the Bruins, looking at their roster. Can't do it without Jeremy Swayman talk. We're still working on having Joe McDonald. I know he was traveling this week. I didn't want to bother him while he was traveling. So hopefully maybe next week, right after the season starts. So we'll take our first break. And when we come back, we'll touch on some baseball and some baseball and Patriots, not the Red Sox. And we open up the phone lines to you at 401-766-1240. 401-766-1240. We'll be back right after these messages.
ON Radio.
The latest Buick and GMC models are available at Tasker Buick GMC in Woonsocket. Buick Encore, Envision, Enclave, and Envista are on the lot waiting for you to take one for a test drive. New GMC crossovers, SUVs, as well as trucks and vans are also available. Thinking of a pre-owned vehicle? Tasker Buick GMC has more than 900 in stock, many under $15,000. Visit online, TaskerBuickGMC.com, or stop into 55 Fortin Drive, Woonsocket. Tasker Buick GMC, you will be satisfied. Kitchen trends for 2024 want to make your cooking space feel more special. From textured tiles to rounded stone islands to porcelain countertops, Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center can show you these and more. Visit CumberlandKitchen.com or stop in and see Kevin and his team at their showroom in the McDonald's Plaza on Mendon Road, Cumberland, right off Route 295. Turning a house into a home, your home, Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center.
The world-class distributor of all things electrical is Electrical Wholesalers. They are a full-service electrical distributor with branches throughout Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. Locally, they're at 113 Clinton Street next to KFC here in Woonsocket, with other locations in Cranston and Franklin, Massachusetts. Electrical Wholesalers provides the highest quality service to electrical contractors as well as residential, commercial, and industrial customers. Electrical Wholesalers is open Monday through Friday, 7 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Visit ew-ne.com. Electrical Wholesalers.
Looking to beautify your property this fall? Look to A.J. Moran for stonework patios, steps, walkways, plus retaining walls. Looking to beautify your home this fall? A.J. Moran can put veneer stone right on your house to have beautiful looking stone. And if that's not what you want, A.J. Moran can rebuild indoor fireplaces with veneer stone. It's real natural stone. Check out what they can do online, ajmoraninc.com. A.J. Moran.
Southeastern Massachusetts' premier baseball and softball facility is Triborough Diamond Sports Academy, located at 445 East Washington Street, conveniently off of Route 1 in North Attleboro. Whether you're looking to put in some individual work in or out of season, or looking for an indoor home for your team during the fall and winter seasons, DSA has you covered. Come to DSA for personalized and group instruction, batting tunnel and pitching mound rentals, team facility rentals, camps, captain's practices, and so much more. Contact Triborough Diamond Sports Academy at 508-316-1702 or via the web at triboroughDSA.com.
We are local and live at 99.5.
And welcome back to the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin here. And thank you for joining us on 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, maybe on Facebook, maybe on YouTube, maybe on OneSocketRadio.com. Welcome back. Phone lines are open, 401-766-1240. Pat, Major League playoffs, I mean, other than the Mets, excitingly, beating the Brewers on Pete Alonso's 3-run home run in the ninth, and they scored another run. All roads, two other road sweeps. Detroit swept Houston. The Phillies. KC swept the Orioles. And San Diego swept Atlanta. Atlanta having to travel cross country after playing a doubleheader.
Yep.
So, all right. So we got today. We got Detroit at Cleveland. At 1 o'clock, we've got Phillies. Hold on, we got the Mets taking on the Phillies. At 4, we got the Yankees playing Kansas City.
Yep.
At 6:30, and San Diego stays in state to play the Dodgers at 8:30. All series 3 out of 5. Any thoughts going into this?
I think Detroit's on fire.
Detroit's on fire.
So I mean, I could see them coming out of that series against Cleveland, who, I think just that division alone was just a toss-up anyway. Cleveland kind of caught fire towards the middle to the end.
Yep.
If there is a year for the Yankees to win it, it would be this year.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, so Mets, Phillies. Mets are playing well. I don't know if they can sustain that. Phillies, I think, have the better pitching out of the two, and then obviously, I think the best series on paper is LA San Diego.
Yeah,
So
I don't think Major League Baseball will say it. I'll say it for them. I think they are rooting for the traditional Dodgers-Yankees World Series. I agree with you, though. I think San Diego-LA is a fascinating series. San Diego hitting all the right buttons. I'm not a huge Dodger fan. However, I want to see Shohei play as long as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that would be fantastic to see what he can do in the playoffs. To see if the only thing I remember about Shohei, I think him versus Mike Trout, kind of like in a World Baseball Classic a couple of years ago. I want to see what Shohei can do in the playoffs to see if he can continue producing at maybe not the same level because you're playing better competition, but
Sure.
at a high level, and see if any of the rumors are true that maybe he could
he'll be
pitch.
throwing.
A little bit of bullpen. So
Yeah, I think we've seen over at least the last couple seasons. When did they add the additional wild card? 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the bye hasn't bode well
Right.
for those teams.
Because they took a week off.
just take a week off,
It's not like
and
a
then you
bye
kinda
week in
like-
football.
Yeah, and then I mean, I wouldn't, not jumping on a moving train, but yeah, I mean, these guys they've been playing,
Right.
they've been traveling, so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I'd like to see a Yankees. I hate saying that, but I'd like seeing a Yankees Dodgers final. Two best teams I think in baseball all year. So
I mean, there are traditional teams, and Yankees are one of them in baseball. I think it's good for the sport when the Yankees and Dodgers actually do well, based on their history. I think it's good for the sport when the Celtics and Lakers do well. I think it's great for the sport if the Montreal Canadiens do well, and they haven't since
1993.
Yeah. So I think you need some of these traditional markets. Not that Boston Bruins aren't a traditional market. I'm just talking your winningest franchises. So to bring the Yankees back again, I don't want to see that. I also don't want to root for the Mets either. But the Mets had one of the most exciting games I've seen, and
Yeah.
I don't hate the Mets like I did in '86. I'm just not a big fan of theirs.
Yeah, there's a guy I'd love to see the Sox pick up, Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso.
I mean, he rakes. He'd look great in Fenway. I mean,
Right.
I'm done. I'm
Done
done
with the
talking about the Red
Sox.
Sox.
We won't talk
But,
about their three top prospects just in the top 10, better
Yeah,
than
yeah.
any other franchise. But that's all right. We can get to that another time.
Yeah. No, but they, it'd be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I could see a Yankees, Tigers, American League championship, and maybe a LA Phillies. Although I hate Philly just
hate
as
Philly
much as
too.
I hate New York, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Some of these markets, man.
I guess that just means we need San Diego or LA coming out of the National League.
I think MLB, and again, they won't say this. I don't think they want San Diego against Cleveland.
no.
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 They'll take a Philly. They'll take either New York team. They'll definitely take Los Angeles.
But I think baseball needs. I think they need a Yankees Dodgers final.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
The ratings are up for the first time in about 8 years.
Yeah.
TV ratings, streaming ratings, all that stuff. I'm not sure about overall attendance throughout the league, but if they get the TV audience starting to come back, that means some of the younger kids are starting to watch because baseball does have the oldest demographic.
Sure.
And they really got to do something to get the younger crowd. And one of the things I did here, I know we haven't gotten to the Patriots yet, but the time of the game average 2:36, best since 1984, 87, something like that. And 2:36 for a game. I sit down and watch the Bruins game, same thing, 2:40. Sit down and watch the Celtics game, 2:40. All right, football I get 3 hours, a lot
With
more
the
commercials,
TV,
it's once a
yeah,
week.
yeah.
I understand that. If baseball can hang in that 2:40, I think they got something here.
I think somebody said I read a quote somewhere or heard a quote somewhere where they said, the time is down into the right time frame, but the game's still just not good.
Oh, that's the other thing. There
watch.
was
It's
there was
just
only
not a-
7 players this year that hit 300 or better.
Yeah.
Now those guys are fantastic years. Bobby Witt Jr. I'm going to miss some of them obviously, but Bobby Witt, Shohei, Aaron Judge, people competing for the Triple Crown this year. Louis Arise, who went 141 plate appearances without striking out, closing in on Tony Gwynn's record of like 170. I mean, those are exciting things. But again, you walk out to the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy and ask somebody who Louis Arise is, they're not going to have any idea. And he's a career 300-plus hitter. And when you're one of 7 to be a career 300 hitter, they hit over 300. It kind of harkens back to the days of 1968 when Yaz led the league in hitting at 301, and that's when they lowered the pitching mound. After that year, to create more 300 hitters, the DH came in.
Arise won the batting title for the 3rd time with his 3rd different team. Was that?
Yeah,
that's a stat.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But I'm not surprised that he's won 3
San Diego. I think he won it with Miami, and then I don't know who he came up with, but
that's crazy.
I heard that and I'm like, well, that's an odd stat, but.
Now, I haven't seen much of him, obviously not playing in the Boston market too much, but I do know of him. Just what I know of him, I compare him to like a Wade Boggs type player because he's that singles hitter, the occasional home run, the occasional double, but just goes about his business, doesn't strike out, he's always on base. Remember Boggs having that, never popped up, category, 2 pop-ups in a year.
2022, he won it with the Twins, batting .316. I believe.
Okay.
Well, actually, it might have been a little sooner than that, but his averages. He's a career average 323 hitter.
Yeah.
He's only had 2 seasons where he didn't bat 300.
And did he hit? While you got his numbers,
and it was 299 and 294.
Did he get the 200 hits this year? I know Bobby Witt did.
This year he only had 159.
Oh, okay, so he might
200. He did hit 200 in 2023. That's it. That's the only time. But
I think
he
Vladdy finished with 199 this year.
2023 he batted 354.
Wow. Yeah. So no, pure hitter.
Yeah. But you're right. I had never heard of him until I started looking up the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
who's this guy?
and then I see that it's it'll be the 3rd time he's won the batting title with his third different team, and I'm like, I guess maybe I should have known this,
but how weird is it? Hey, who's this guy? Oh, you're great.
Right.
And this is where baseball, and now we're completely getting off topic, but this is where baseball is making a mistake. I mean, how do you not know who Louis Arise is? Is it as simple as bringing back This Week in Baseball? I mean, obviously Mel Allen can't do it, but with the same format, it's just amazing that all these games are on TV and nobody knows who anybody is. I'll give you, I don't think people know Bobby Witt is, and Bobby Witt was challenging for Triple Crown this year with Aaron Judge challenging for Triple Crown. I think people have heard of Judge because of the New York market and everything, and he's such a big dude, but it's crazy. Phone lines are open. If you got some thoughts on baseball, we're gonna pivot over to the Patriots. We'll probably take a quick break. We'll come back with the Pats and then Bruins talk. So we won't spend too much time on the Patriots, but we'll just kind of leave it with this. We'll tease it a bit. The best player is their field goal kicker, and that's never a good sign. So, all right, you listen. You're on you're sitting in the cheap seats with Pat and Kevin right now. We got to work on that wording right there. Yeah. Coming up on our next break, we'll be back here on 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, OneSoccerRadio.com, and we'll be back right after these messages.
ON Radio.
Sam and Tina at Ollie's Pizzeria are so grateful for all the customers who voted them gold for best pizza in ON Radio's Best of the Blackstone Valley. Ollie's Pizzeria, where quality ingredients, expert craftsmanship, and a cozy ambiance come together to redefine your pizza cravings. Order online at olliespizzeria.com. Ollie's Pizzeria, 204 South Main Street, Woonsocket, on the corner of Front Street and South Main. Ollie's Pizzeria, one of the best of the Blackstone Valley.
This is an ad about a self-made teen. Me. See, I go to school, I do my chores, but I also have my own goals. I'm saving what I earn from making radio ads like this one to buy a gaming computer, and I'm using my Embark account to do it. With no fees, mobile banking, and a money management tool, it's like a spend account, but a lot smarter. So if you're a self-made teen like me, I suggest you get one too. The Embark account, banking for the self-made teen. Navigant Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Lincoln and North Smithfield Urgent Care Centers are Northern Rhode Island's modern comprehensive urgent cares devoted to the best family health care available. They have board-certified doctors on their staff who will make you feel safe, comfortable, and reassured, especially when you're in doubt and concerned about the severity of your discomfort. Both centers feature on-site labs and x-ray facilities, as well as drug screens, complete physicals, flu shots, occupational medicine, including workers' comp and free blood screening. North Smithfield Urgent Care, 594 Great Road, North Smithfield, 768-3400. Open Monday through Friday 9 to 8 and Saturday 9 to 5. Lincoln Urgent Care, located across from Lincoln Mall, 333-9595. Open weekdays 9 to 9, Saturday and Sunday 9 to 5. You do have a choice.
State Line Service and Tire Center services all vehicles, including late model cars and light trucks. Your late model vehicle is a highly sophisticated piece of equipment featuring a network of sensors and switches that monitor engine performance and efficiency. When a problem arises, it's important for your technician to know if your check engine light warning is a real problem or just a sensor computer issue. So be safe and be sure. Don, Kevin, and Sean believe in communicating and explaining. State Line Service and Tire Center, 1209 Social Street, Woonsocket, at the State Line.
Hi folks, this is Tom Marshall, founder of Marshall Building and Remodeling. You know, when it comes to choosing a roofing, siding, or window company for your home, you need to protect yourself from inexperience, unfair prices, and shoddy work. The best way to do that is to call Marshall. We'll give you honest advice and a fair price, then you decide. With Marshall, there's no money down, great warranties, and the best work and service available, period. Make your home beautiful with Marshall. Visit us at marshallbr.com, and remember, we are your local roofing, siding, and window people.
And welcome back to the the cheap seats with Pat and Kevin. What you couldn't say Peyton Pritchard earlier, and that was the sheep seats, the cheap seats. Yeah, with Pat and Kevin. Pat, before we get to our Bruins preview, I got a couple of news on the Patriots, and button a little tricky there on me. So it's Ramondre Stevenson benched for Gibson. Stevenson 4 fumbles, 4 games. He will play, but you had to do something there. Yeah. Right.
I think I think you fumble in 4 straight games. I think they lost two out of the 4. I mean, you have to at some point make a decision to go, hey, we can't do this anymore. We got to make a change and ease him back in. I'm sure he'll still be part of the the play book, but he's gonna get less touches, and
he has to earn it back. He has to earn the trust back again. Until for the time being, Gibson can give you maybe the same number of yards without fumbling. So so we'll see. The other thing is everyone at the beginning of the year predicted, maybe 3 to 5 wins. I know I went overboard after the Cincinnati. Hopeful. I was trying to be a pie-eyed optimist, and I went pie-eyed pessimist. If you have any thoughts on the Patriots, 766-1240 or anything else, feel free to give us a call, 401-766-1240. But if they're going to win 3 to 5 games, I think tomorrow is a must-win. Miami's down. Patriots and Dolphins have the 2 worst offenses in the league. I cannot believe that the over/under is 35.5. I think it should be 10.
Yeah, this is legitimately the toilet bowl.
It really is.
I mean, at least in the East. They're playing for last place,
right?
Which Miami certainly didn't think they were going to be in this position, but unfortunately they are due to injuries. And the Patriots got. David Andrews and Caden Wallace both going on the IR.
Yeah.
Andrews is out for the year, undergoing surgery. Caden Wallace is a question of maybe he'd be back, but he's certainly out for at least, I think it's, once you go on the IR,
it's at least 4 games, right?
4 games.
Yeah.
So, but they were kind of, looking at like it's probably a season ending, which doesn't bode well for them because their offensive line is just not in great shape. And then it comes out, I think yesterday, that they're open to listening to trade opportunities for Tyquan Thornton. I don't know what they think they're going to get, but I think that means they got some wide receivers coming off the IR. I think was it Bourne not Bourne.
Oh yeah, Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne's
yeah.
coming off, so there's maybe it's a numbers thing there, and he's just not performing. And I think
Right.
he only has 35 catches in 3 seasons.
And you bring up Tyquan Thornton, and this year, I just pulled up the stats now. He's only been targeted 5 times.
Yep.
He's got 2 catches for 27 yards. Unless teams saw something in him last year or preseason, there's not going to be a lot of demand for him on the market. You want to hear a real sad stat?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins the other night threw for 505 yards in the game. Jacoby Brissett in 4 games has thrown for 536 yards. Kirk Cousins did in 1 game, but Jacoby Brissett has done all year. And add another 22 yards from Drake May, and the Patriots as a team is at 550. I mean,
yeah, and I was one of those guys who I thought they should have gone after him,
like Cousins
yeah. in the as a free agent and pay him. And then draft for the future.
Yeah.
Now I don't think he'd be throwing for 500 yards down here. I still just don't think they have the weapons. But
now there's the times that Brissett had the time to throw, he couldn't hit a receiver. Other times he's on the run.
Yeah.
There was a podcast that came out this week. A Patriots employee did a podcast. The Patriots ended up taking it down.
Yeah.
He used the word mutiny. And typically when you hear mutiny on a team, you got, offense versus defense. Hey, we're carrying all the weight, or defense versus offense. Problem is it's offense versus offense. Hey, you're not getting me the ball. You're not blocking them. You got defense versus defense. You're not in the right spot. You only care about tackles and sacks.
Yeah.
If true, this is bad.
Yeah, and I think that was, I did hear, I think it was either Peppers or Duggar came out. I think it might have been Peppers who basically said, like, there's no mutiny, but are we happy? No,
Right.
We're not happy with the way we're performing.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball, but there was some. I think there was some underlying issues with White, the edge rusher, who taking himself out of position to go after sacks instead of really maintaining that edge,
Right.
Letting guys get to the outside, because he's just they've since kind of stepped that back a little bit, but
Well, then then on the offensive side of the ball, you had Douglas. I mean, throwing a temper tantrum on the field. He's stomping when they didn't get the ball, and and that's not Jerry Rice complaining that he's not getting the ball. It's Pop Douglas. Yeah, nice receiver. But, you can't be throwing tantrums on the field. You want to throw a tantrum, you do it behind the scenes with no cameras around, no reporters around. You do it in your locker room. That's where you do it. You don't do it on the field in front of 65,000 people and all the cameras. I mean,
you look at their depth chart right now, and it's like, there's a lot of red on here. Questionables.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is like questionable. Verdarian Lowe's questionable. Caden Wallace is on the IR. Okorafor is out. I don't even think he's, Michael Jordan's questionable. Nick Leverett's questionable. Cole Strange is out. David Andrews IR. Jake Andrews IR. Layden Robinson questionable. It's like, do they have anybody?
Right.
Michael Onwenu is the only guy who's like, in city. So are the two like.
So you're saying there's no chance?
Yeah, I think there's a chance tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
I think,
yeah.
But I think we just have to dial it back. And
Right.
I think we expected.
No, I think
the expectation was they were probably going to win 2 to 3 games this year.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to keep it realistically. We have to keep it at that. I'm playing for a top 5 pick again, and
yeah,
they need to do some rebuilding.
But the thing is, you can't be playing worse and worse and worse. And now, granted, San Francisco's a very good team, but you can't be getting worse. You can't be peaking in game 1
right.
or game 2. So it's important to at least. And I think the expectation is you don't have to win. You just have to be play hard, be competitive, play as a team. So, so let's do a quick pivot. We definitely want to get into the Bruins. We got about 20 minutes left on the show, and we'll do it over 2 segments. First of all, the NHL opened up, and they do this like MLB baseball does it. And personally, I kind of hate it. They opened up in Prague. That part doesn't bother me. The Devils opened up with a 4-1 win over Buffalo in Prague yesterday, and they're playing game 2 today. So they're going back to back. I think the game starts at 10 o'clock our time. But while those regular season games are going on, you still got preseason games going on. The Bruins play their last preseason game of the day, and everybody else is finishing up with preseason hockey as well.
Yep.
Hey, we do have a caller on the line, so let's we'll stop everything. Let's go to the call. Hello, is the caller there?
Good morning, Kevin.
Hey, Moose, how's it going?
Hi, bud. I just popped in, trying to catch the last few minutes of your show.
All right.
I like the exchange of emails with the trivia.
Yes,
questions.
yes. I never got the 400 hitter, Moose. Who was the 400 hitter?
All right, he's way back, Kevin. He's way back.
Yeah, I guess Tony Gwynn at 394. You said it was a 400 hitter, so it's
This guy hit 424.
424.
Yikes.
We're in Napa Joy territory.
Right. And I believe he won a couple of batting titles. He might even hit 400 in the. Cobb, I think, holds a record for the career average. It's like 380 something or something. Does that sound correct?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. That's career-wise.
Yeah, that's a.
And I think Gabby Hartnett holds it in the American League.
I've heard that name. That's a Hall of Famer as well.
436, which is the highest.
Wow, that's
period. This guy hit 424, National League.
Cappy Anson?
Nope. Rogers Hornsby.
Oh, Rogers Hornsby. I should have got that. Oh my gosh.
I thought you might.
Yeah, no, I should have got that one. That's.
I like the information you fed me about Luis Arias.
Luis Arias. We were talking about him earlier in the show, and the greatest player that no one's ever heard of.
140 straight at bats without a strikeout.
141 plate appearances. The record is Tony Gwynn. I ended up researching it more with 171. So he was threatening it. But yeah, in this day and age of 200 strikeouts being regular in Major League Baseball, and him not striking out hardly at all, it's incredible. Not seeing him play all that often, Moose, I kind of compared him to Wade Boggs. You know, he's your singles hitter, hitting for high average.
Yeah, sure.
So interesting. So and Pat, the other question I did get right from Moose, lowest ERA of the 20th century, and
correct.
And I came up with Bob Gibson. I forgot what it was, but it was 1.12. But that was the year Yaz led the league with a 3.01 average, and they changed the rules after that.
Right.
They lowered the mound.
Do you remember the season talking about Yaz where he got beat out because somebody sat out the last day of the season? Do you recall that?
I don't recall that.
I can tell you who it is.
Yeah, who was that?
Alex Johnson.
Oh, yeah, no. That does sound familiar.
He was with the Angels.
Yeah. Because I remember hearing the story of Williams, the year he hit 400, did not sit out when he could have sat out the doubleheader, and he went 6 for 8, and he raised his average to 406.
This Carwood did.
Yeah.
He sat down.
Yeah.
He was leading, and he was in fear of losing the batting title.
Right, exactly,
so,
yeah.
So Yaz played the same day, and Yaz ended up playing.
Good.
Oh, my goodness. Less than 1,000.
1970.
1970 that was? Oh, wow.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I can't pinpoint the year.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's some good
stuff.
stuff.
Good stuff. Look, Kevin, I'm sorry. I have to cut you short.
No problem.
I wanted to call in and chime in, and I'll be listening to the rest of the show.
All right, great.
Thanks, Moose.
Okay, thanks, Moose. Have a good weekend. One of our regulars, Moose, on the line with us as well. And if you want to chime in, 766-1240. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, all Bruins for the last 15 minutes, which I think is going to roll into next week, Pat. So thanks for listening. You're on the cheap seats with Pat and Kevin here on 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, WoonSocketRadio.com, Facebook, YouTube. We're all over the place. Come join us. We'll be back right after these messages.
This is ON Radio.
The latest Buick and GMC models are available at Tasker Buick GMC in Woonsocket. Buick Encore, Envision, Enclave, and Invista are on the lot waiting for you to take one for a test drive. New GMC crossovers, SUVs, as well as trucks and vans are also available. Thinking of a pre-owned vehicle? Tasker Buick GMC has more than 900 in stock, many under $15,000. Visit online, TaskerBuickGMC.com, or stop into 55 Fortin Drive, Woonsocket. Tasker Buick GMC, you will be satisfied.
A new garage door can have a major effect on the appearance of your property. When you're ready, call Andy Bebo at Woonsocket Door Sales, in business since 1935. Woonsocket Door Sales installs and repairs all makes of doors and openers, as well as broken springs and cables. Service includes installation and free disposal of the old door. Woonsocket Door Sales, 767-3448. Office located at 1 Biltmore Avenue, Cumberland. Reputation is important.
Bad accidents happen to good people. John Brian of the Brian Law Group can help if you've been injured in an accident. The Brian Law Group handles personal injury cases on a contingent fee basis. You do not pay anything unless they secure money for you through a jury award or insurance settlement. When choosing a lawyer, go with someone you know, someone local. Choose John Brian of the Brian Law Group. Call 401-597-5565, 597-5565.
Automobile construction and design continues to change, so it's important that auto body shops remain current and certified in aluminum repair and able to reproduce the entire color spectrum. Michaud's Auto Body is a certified Class A auto shop staying current with the new technology. The use of aluminum in construction has made vehicles lighter, and many of the new metallic paints require the tri-coat process, 3 layers to get the perfect match. Michaud's Auto Body, a second-generation family business. 430 Privilege Street, Woonsocket, 769-1983.
When you have an emergency leak, or maybe even worse, a fire, remember this name, 24 Restore. Say it again, 24 Restore. You may not need them today, or next week, or even a month from now, but at some point when you do, it's got to be 24 Restore. 24 Restore is the leading full-service restoration partner for commercial and residential properties throughout New England. When you need water mitigation, fire restoration, or even mold remediation, 24 Restore is your one-stop shop for all of your restoration needs. They'll handle it all seamlessly with your insurance company, so you don't have to worry. So remember, 24 Restore New England, they're there when you need them, 24/7, 365 days a year, at 1-855-280-3060, or via the web at 24restorene.com.
If you're celebrating a major event, regardless of the reason, Michael's Meats of Cumberland can elevate your next meal from ordinary to extraordinary with meats so good your guests will ask you where you got them. Tell them, Michael's Meats. Michael's Meats is in the Walgreens parking lot on Mendon Road in Cumberland, just north of the Ciabro Plaza. They're open Monday through Saturday at 9 a.m., making your next meal truly special. Here's this week's specials at Michael's Meats.
And this week, Michael's Meats has certified Angus sirloin strip steaks for just $13.88 a pound at Michael's Meats. Welcome back to the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin. Pat, let's continue on. We talked about the NHL opening up. I'm not a fan of them opening up while preseason games are still going on. But they didn't ask me for my opinion, so oh well. And Bruins.
Yes.
Okay, they start Tuesday. We all thought Jeremy Swayman would be in net. We all thought Cooper Salo would be his backup. I think we all thought we're looking at 50 to 55 games out of Swayman, and the rest brought up by Korpisalo. Now, goalie coach Bob, who's been with the Bruins for 21 years, he brought Linus Wallmark to Vezina as a coach. Can he do the same for Cooper Salo? Because your Jeremy Swayman, my Jeremy Swayman, not in camp.
Not in camp, not anywhere close to being in camp at this point, from what we understand. Does he have to be a Vezina? I don't think he doesn't have to get him to be a Vezina, but he has. I think as long as he be serviceable. He didn't look. I didn't watch the LA game the other night as.
With the French feed.
With the French feed. But he gave up 4 goals. 2
2 back-to-back, like
Yeah,
really quick.
yeah.
3
And
goals
that-
in
yeah,
a
3
35
goals,
second
yeah. So,
stretch.
but that's the preseason. I think as long as I think they've gotten better on defense.
Yep. They got some size.
With Zadorov, the addition of Zadorov, they got some size.
The 6'6" Russian.
So I think my opinion is always you build from the back end out. You solidify your defensive core, which I think they have, and then everything else should take care of itself. And you don't have to have a Vezina type goalie. If you have one, obviously that's fantastic. But if you don't, you get into these situations. You don't have to. We've discussed this ad nauseum at this point. I think the last couple of weeks via whether it be when we can touch upon it on the show or on our podcast. That I just don't think Swayman's worth the $9.5 million that it looks like he initially asked for. And do they meet at 8.5?
It's I listen to the talking heads up in Boston all the time, and I don't always agree. I hardly ever agree, but I do agree. I think $8 million is actually, I think it's overpaying.
Yeah.
And I am again one of the biggest Jeremy Swayman fans as a player. I don't know if it's his agent. I don't know if he's getting bad advice. I don't know how a goalie who has not played more than 43 regular season games in a year can hold out. If what's being reported is accurate, and Neely made the 64 million reasons why he should be playing right now. It came out that because the agent for Swayman said those numbers were never discussed. And then it comes out that they saw the word discussed. They offered 7.8, which equals 62.4 million. So I mean, when you're talking a difference of 1.6, we're talking semantics here over 8 years. And both contract offers, 8 and 8 for 64, or 7.8 at 8 for 62.4, makes him a top 5 paid goalie in the league, behind everybody else that's playing or has won, like playing 50, 55 games a year on average, maybe 60 on average. And Pat, you and I have talked too. You don't need, you brought up Grant Fuhr on the highest powered offense ever, in a different, goalie pad league, but Grant Fuhr's a save percentage of 88%. His goals against average was 3.3. Back in the day in the career, very rare. When they changed the rules on pads and the neutral zone trap came in with New Jersey, his numbers got better. But I think the Bruins and hockey teams could do it. And I really think the Bruins should stay true to themselves. Stay the. When was the last time? I am all over the place here. This gets me ramped up. When was the last time you saw fans side with Bruins management when it came to any sort of player negotiation or salary? Have you ever seen it happen?
No. Yeah. I mean, nothing that leaps out to me, but I would say usually it's the other way. It's like you're cheap, sign.
Yeah.
Even though they've signed players, they've spent the money since the cap.
Right.
Era, right.
They've always spent to the cap.
They've spent to the cap.
There's a few holdouts you still see the Bruins are cheap, but they're not cheap anymore.
This is a unique situation because there's going to be the cap's going to definitely go up, but what even if he signs an 8-year deal now, it's like, well, what does that mean in 8 years from now?
Right.
Like cap could be double what it. I mean, who knows? What
does he realize he might be the 20th highest paid goalie in 8 years? Is he going to hold out then?
He's going to get paid probably double what he made.
Right, he made 3.84 or 3.5,
3.6 or 3.8, something like that, and that was arbitration. So to get 8, an 8 by 8, it's like,
and that's guaranteed money. It's not an NFL contract. These are guaranteed.
So the
contracts.
last RFA that signed was Vasilevsky.
Yep.
He was coming off of Vezina, Stanley Cup, absurd numbers, playing in 60 games. He had everything on his side.
Right. So
Swayman's not there yet.
He's not there yet, and he's still mad and upset about arbitration. I forgot about this, and I heard this on one of the stations. Ray Bourque went to arbitration. In arbitration, you say why you're great. Management says why you're not great. And this is so we can agree to a solution.
Yeah.
And Swayman, they said I was a failure in the playoffs, or they didn't trust me in the playoffs because they had the Vezina winning Ullmark in the playoffs, and you were 23 at the time. It's you got your chance last year. I mean, you want to be negative. He's only won one playoff series in his career. And again, the Bruins are offering, whether you believe it's $8 million or 7.8. I agree that the Bruins should not go over 8. I want Swayman in camp. I want him playing. I want him to be the staple for the next 8 years, I guess. But not at 9. I don't even know if there's enough money to pay him 9 this year. So now you got to start cutting people. You start cutting people. You start cutting salary. Guess what? The team's not as good in front of you as they are, as they constantly as they're made up right now.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Either they're going to come to an agreement under what they have now under the salary cap and they move forward, or December 1st comes and he has to sit out. So, but a good segue that you just made was what are they currently?
Right.
Like, what are they currently? So,
yeah.
I think you sent your list of
what
you thought they're going to be made up of, which I mean, it's at this point it's pretty good. I mean, I can go down the roster and
got
you can say who John Beecher. I think he makes it.
Yep.
Brazeau, I think he makes the team. Patrick Brown, he's a lower six guy. So
yeah. You got your two goalies in Korpisalo. Brandon Bussey, I think, now makes it. They did sign Patera, who I think is going to report down to Providence as a backup goalie down there. And they got DiPietro.
They just sent down. He has to clear waivers, which I think by this afternoon he probably clears waivers.
Most likely he will.
Providence.
And then if Swayman comes back, then you'll probably see Bussey down in Providence. They still call Bussey a prospect. I haven't been that impressed with him in preseason camp, so we'll see. I like the Bruins forwards. You got Beecher, Coyle, Trent Frederick, Geeky, Elias Lindholm, Marchand, Pasta, of course, Pavel Zacha. Potras has had a good
I think he makes it in. He is hurt. He's hurt right now.
Did he get hurt again?
He got hurt 2 games ago.
Oh, he got that hard hit. And they held him out. You're right.
Undisclosed injury, and then they called Lysell back up.
Yep.
Because of hit. So
yes,
I think that's going to be Lysell's. He's going to be back and forth all season, I bet.
He'll be that Route 95 guy between Providence and Boston.
This kid Tufte, Riley Tufte, 6'6", 230. I think they have a spot for him. And Kostelic, obviously 6'4", 226, or Max Jones. Or all of them.
See, that's what I say. Like the Bruins they've addressed their needs. Florida was a very physical team last year. The Bruins didn't necessarily have the answer to the physical toughness that Florida possessed, and Florida goes on and wins the Stanley Cup. The Bruins address that need. Yeah. They're bigger. I think tougher, and tougher doesn't mean fighting. It just means tougher, hard hitting, and still have the scores up front as well. And the whole thing was, predicated on Swayman and net. I mean, the big mistake that management made was, I guess, not signing Swayman before they traded Allmark, or they should have had something in place there ahead of time. At least,
and maybe they thought they'd be close.
Yeah, maybe they did.
I don't know. And on the back end, you got obviously it's a little bit more solidified. Carlo, Lindholm, Lowry. I expect
McAvoy.
A big year out of Mason Lowry this year. Yeah. McAvoy consistent.
McAvoy should be on Team USA this year, I think, as well.
Yeah. I think he'll be there.
Right.
Nikita Zadorov, again, 6'6", 248. Parker Waterspoon, I think he'll be that swing guy.
Yeah.
On that third pairing. And then probably Andrew Peak. I know they just sent the kid Osterley down, who I kind of liked him. He's an offensive-minded guy, which is why he's minus 59.
Minus 59 for his career, and his plus-minus. That scared me when you said they sent them down. I'm like, oh, good.
And then I think the other two guys, they get this Sweezy kid who's a local kid. He's out of Hanson. And Ian Mitchell was a guy they picked up last year. He spent some time between Providence and Boston. So, I think they got a good squad. I think they filled the needs that they did. Could they find another top 6 guy, either a winger or I think they're solidified the center spot with Lindholm. And
I know I was shot down on this, but I'll throw it out there again. Is a sign and trade possible? Is it irreparable now on Jeremy Swayman, where they sign him to some and they trade him? That frees up salary cap. You going with Corpusalo? That's
They
your
still
guy
have the
there?
leverage, though. The Bruins would have the leverage in that because
Yeah.
it'd be a sign and trade, and what are you giving us back?
Right, exactly.
And, if a team made a offer to him now, and the Bruins didn't match it, they would get 2 first-round picks back for that.
Exactly. So
So
the longer this goes
we've
on, the
heard-
longer it's in favor of the Bruins because they have, I think, the fans on management's side.
yeah.
And they're not clamoring for you have to sign Swayman. Now, if Corpusalo goes out and lays an egg to start the year, which starts Tuesday against Florida, then they come home Thursday at home against Montreal. They start off 0-2, and they're being outscored 10-1 combined in those 2 games. You may see fans start to turn on management. But if those games are close, 3-2, 4-3, empty net goals, things like that, I think you're going to see Bruins fans continue to be on the side of management. Then next week I'll come in here and do a flip flop.
Yeah, I've heard there's been a few L.A. Kings, Montreal Canadiens, Seattle could be in on. Although Seattle, I don't see why they would be. But and then like Chicago, Utah, those types of teams. So
yeah. So, all right, well, that about wraps things up here from the Cheap Seats. We appreciate you tuning in and or watching. We're going to continue a deep dive into the Bruins next week. We'll see what the final roster is going in. We'll see if we can get Joey Mack in with us as well as he's traveling and he gets busy now with hockey underway. But tune in at 1 o'clock today where we have Woonsocket High School football for you as they take on Westerly at noon, the Tiki Bar with Joe Callahan. Thanks again for tuning in and being with us in the Cheat Seats here on 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, and WoonsocketRadio.com. For Pat Holland, I'm Kevin Callahan. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigation